How to become a millionaire as a regular person.
I'm Nate, the FitFutureMD. Upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Hopefully I'm helping you. If I am, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate all your support.
There are ways to become a millionaire that I'm not going to go over in this video, like marrying a millionaire or winning a lottery or being a business owner, okay? Like those three things I'm not going to go over in this video. What I am going to go over is how do you become a millionaire as a regular person, a regular working person, you know, average salary of $50,000 a year. You know, you're going to have a wife, a family, you know, the basic American dream. Like, we're going to talk about how you become a millionaire, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to assess where you're at, right? For me, when I started this journey, I am $330,000 in student loan debt. So $330,000 in the hole, right? So I needed a plan not only to get rid of that debt, but to then get $1 million on top of that, right? Making only $50,000 a year, right? So when I sat down and thought of this plan, like, I was like, man, I don't want to be a millionaire in 30 years and be old. I want to be a millionaire by 40, right? You know, when I started, I was 32 when I started thinking about this, right? So that's 8 years to be a millionaire. So that's the first thing you got to do. You got to assess where you're at, right? And then after that, you got to make your plan on how to become that millionaire, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today, is that plan, right? So for me, I knew that there had to be some sort of, like, you're not going to, in 10 years, you're not going to become a millionaire by investing just in the S&P 500, you know, 15% of your salary for 10 years. You're not going to be a millionaire doing that, right? Like, that's only, you know, when I first learned about this in 2005, you know, before the Great Recession, you know, the stock market was returning 12 to 14% a year before that. You know, so when you did that math then, you know, you still wouldn't be a millionaire in 8 years, right, doing that. So you have to think about doing something different to be financially independent in 8 to 10 years, right? So the first thing was getting rid of payments, right? So any credit card debt, any vehicle debt, like, that's got to go, like, now, today, right? Because you're on the wrong side of the cash flow quadrant there. All your money is going out to be somebody else's passive income when you want to be the one creating passive income. You know, as you're making your plan, you need to be building your knowledge on investing, right? Basically, the only way for a regular person to go from a worker where you're taxed at 50% of your salary to a financially independent person is to be from here to here as an investor, right? Because investments are only taxed when you cash them out. You actually receive income from them, right? So if Apple goes from $50 to $100, that gap is your capital gain, but you are not actually taxed on that capital gain until you sell that stock, right? So all those years it was growing without you getting taxed, and it's only taxed one time, and it's a 20% tax rate instead of a 50% tax rate, right? So that's number one, right? You got to build your base knowledge, to make your plan. And sometimes as you're building knowledge, your base plan will change. Like, so when I first started investing, we had just got a $1,200 stimulus check. I hadn't lost my job, right? And the virus hadn't even gotten to my area at all yet. So what did I do with that $1,200? Well, I put it into the stock market, right? And immediately got lucky and tripled it up. As you're making your plan, as you gain knowledge, things in your plan might change, right? All right, so we talked about getting rid of your debt. We talked about, making your plan, and we talked about your plan will change as you gain more knowledge. Well, the first knowledge you want to gain is how to buy a home, or if, depending on what kind of job you're in, right? Because you don't want to be a person that's just paying for somebody else's home, being somebody else's passive income. You want passive income to come to you. And you do that by learning about trends, where people are going to move and live, upcoming areas, right? Like, for instance, the house that we live in, it was considered one of the, it's a non-HOA neighborhood, so, but it's literally doubled in value since we bought this. And once again, none of that is taxed until we sell. And if you go for your base knowledge on housing, you can make up to $500,000 tax-free when you're married and have a family and married, when you go to sell your property, right? So, and on average, the real estate market's gone up 4% a year forever, right? And there's only been a few times where it's really actually decreased by a big number, right? And that was after long periods of increases, right? So, and I like this thing called house hacking, right? I actually want to try to get rid of my mortgage payment completely by either Airbnb in the property, so, or having a roommate, or have another family live with you and split the bills, whatever, right? And yeah, if you did that for 10 years, it might be a little inconvenient. But guess what? You got a paid-for house in 10 years, and you didn't have to pay for any of it. It's a no-brainer, right? And even if you don't house hack, it's still cheaper to buy than it is to rent. You actually can get this money that you spent back when you sell this property. It actually becomes part of your net worth, right? So I rented from 2005, fall of 2005 until we bought this house in 2019. So, and I know some years were, $5,000 or $6,000 when I was in college a year, And some people would say it's better, especially if you don't have a family or not, that you just rent a room from somebody, but you still never get that money back, right? So in my opinion, it's better to house hack, to be the one renting the room or renting the bed to someone than to just throw your money away. But I know people want to stay mobile, and so it just depends on where you're at, right? But that would be number 2, is house hacking. And you literally can literally get into a house for 5% down on a traditional mortgage, where there's no limitations to what you can do. So you got to have 2 years of work experience for that. So like I say, you just build up your knowledge. And we have a criteria for our housing, 1980 and newer, so that you're not having to worry about a lot of this old stuff having to be replaced all the time, stuff like that. You really want to find one that somebody might have already flipped. So an 80s house might have been flipped in 05, 06, 07. So find one that was flipped in 06, 07, so everything's been updated already. There's definitely ways you could do it. You got to build your knowledge, right? I think that's the number one thing in this video, is you got to build knowledge, right? You've got that. You're paying down your debt. The next thing and the last thing is to just stay broke. Just be broke all the time. And you're broke because you're literally investing all your money, the maximum amount you can have, right? As a regular person, the way to become financially independent is to invest. You go from worker to investor, right? And that you are a regular person. Obviously, it's easier to invest in something that you have great knowledge in, right? So gaining knowledge is the most important thing, right? If you're investing in stuff you don't understand, you're basically just gambling, right? And you don't want to be a gambler. You want to be an investor, right? So, and you can go into, well, how much would I have to invest if this? How much would I have to invest in that? Well, I determined that I was going to need investments with exponential growth, right? So I'm literally in a lot higher risk things than a traditional, I'm going to be a millionaire in 30 years, right? Some people talk about growth stock mutual funds and all that stuff. Well, I don't believe in mutual funds because they're taking a fee, right? You can do things without a fee. You don't need to lose that percentage for someone to manage your money when you can have the knowledge to do it. When you're staying broke, you're not going out and doing stuff anyway. Sit there, read a free book from a library, and gain your base knowledge, right? Get smarter. And as long as you can read and write, you can do that. You can become smarter. And even if you can't read and write, guess what? They got YouTube now. So you literally can go to YouTube University and learn everything you need to know, for the most part. And you can learn from other people's mistakes and experiences. Obviously you got to take all their advice as a grain of salt because it may not be meant for where you're at in your journey to financial independence. And then the last thing is to keep good money habits even after you become a millionaire, because as we see this year in 2022, stock market's down 24-25%. It probably end the year down 20%. And if you got to the $1 million mark and lost 20%, well, that means you're only worth $800,000, right? So you still got to keep those good money habits and continue to invest through, you know, these downturns, because that's where normal people make the most money, right? If you keep those good money habits, then, you know, you're always going to be financially independent, right? Because basically, to be financially independent, your investments have to be replacing your salary, right? So if your salary is $50,000, I personally have a REIT that I'm investing in that I would only need $400,000 to completely replace my salary, right? And then I would be financially independent. I would not have to have a job at all, right? And you can find investments out there like that by gaining your base knowledge, and you can invest in them enough to, you know, and then you can do the math on it, right? So if I need $400,000, you know, to replace my salary, well, how much would I have to invest every year to get to that $400,000 mark, right? How many of those dividends would I have to roll over into it, right, to get to that $400,000 mark? Would I diversify into many REITs, not just that one, right? Absolutely, right? So those are all good money habits, right? But that's how you become a millionaire as a regular person. You become an investor. You build your base knowledge so that you can be knowledgeable enough to invest in things to replace your salary. That's how you do it. Most people should be able to become a millionaire as a regular person in 10 years. The earlier you start, the better, right? If you're 18 years old, if you're 16, 17, 18 years old right now, like, you are in the best position ever to be a millionaire by 28, 29, 30 years old and be financially independent. You know, make your plan, avoid name brand stuff and overpaying for things, and shop on clearance racks, and, you know, let's say all these companies have, you know, overproduced what they were going to sell this year, so take advantage of all these sales so that, you know, you actually have nice things. Like, you probably going to be getting a computer for half price this year. You know, you're going to be getting clothes all the way down to $5, $6 instead of the $30 or $40. You know, they're literally going to be selling it for what they got it for to try to break even this year. You know, it's going to be great, and you take advantage of it as a regular person, you know. And if you love your job once you become a millionaire, you continue to do it. And if you don't, you go find what you love and do that, right? And you don't have to worry, so if I like to paint, I don't have to worry about whether I sell a single painting, right? I'm getting paid a salary regardless, right? Like the man that owns Johnson & Johnson, he literally sits there and paints all day long. That's what he loves to do. And he doesn't have to sell a single one of his paintings. It could all sit in a warehouse, because literally Johnson & Johnson is running and paying him without having to do anything. You know, he's just able to sit there and do what he loves. And, you know, it's a lot easier to find meaning in life when you're doing what you love. And it's not doing it, you know, because you have to flip it to make money. Is doing it just out of the pure love of it, right? So that's the goal, to be financially independent. You're not retired, right? You're there, you're doing what you actually love to do. And that's the goal. That's what we want to get to. This is how you became a millionaire. I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD. I hope this helped you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have anything to add to this, like, please add it and I'll talk about it. Or obviously I can learn, you know, I'm continuing gaining my base knowledge as well, right? So, you know, I can learn from you as well. So, you know, if you got anything down there, I'd love to hear about it. Any questions that you don't feel comfortable putting in the comments, you can always email me. Hopefully I'm helping you. If I am, give me a like and hit that notification bell. Upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And this was how to become a millionaire as a regular person. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.